imagine a childhood without a mom and dad. Imagine a childhood with no family. For over 70 million children in the U.S. alone, this is a reality. Many children are abandoned and are put into adoption. However, not many people are adopting kids. Adoption can change a kid's life forever. For those of you, those who don't have anything, they need something. They need a family to take care of them, to love them, and to live a life they never really had. 70.38 million children in the U.S. need adoption. Without adoption, kids wouldn't know what to do, they wouldn't have a successful life, and they wouldn't be anywhere without family. So, adoption is a must because little kids are being abandoned by their families or something has happened. And I recommend that adoption should be strongly considered because kids are able to live a good life and it's a humane thing to do. Today I'm going to talk about multiple things. The first thing I'm going to talk about is two different types of adoption. The first one is international and the second is domestic. Second I'm going to talk about is the benefits for both the child and the parents, and hopefully be able to change the way you look at adoption. And finally, I will be talking about celebrities who were put into adoption and were adopted. International adoption is where you are choosing to adopt a kid from another country. And there are many requirements for this adoption. First, you must meet the requirements of the state that you live in, you must meet the requirements of the United States, and you must meet the requirements of the foreign country that you want to adopt the kid from. An international agreement where they establish safeguards to ensure that the kid has full potential benefits. They establish safeguards to ensure that countries' adoptions take place in the best interest of the child. So therefore, hopefully the parents who are adopting have a good financial life, a good personal life, and are able to provide all the caring and loving and benefits for this child. Like I said before, you must meet all the requirements. Ultimately, the details of the paperwork are worked through the agency that you choose to adopt from. And then I'm going to talk about the interstate. The interstate is where you choose to adopt a child from the outside state. Interstate is important because they have different laws and you have to follow different procedures. Adoption agency is important because there are different kinds, however you should choose the best that fits you and your family. So if you want to adopt from different states or different countries, you need to choose different types of agencies. There are a lot of agencies, therefore finding the right could take time, but there is a place where you can check the agency's reputation. According to the adoptionagency.com, you can get some advice from them by choosing or by narrowing down the multiple agencies you want and to help you choose. They have this thing called state licensing specialists. And what they do is that they see and check if those agencies are in good standing and have full potential to help you get the child you want. And also that it shows how long the agencies have had their licensing agreement. Now that I have talked to you guys about the different types of adoptions, I'm now going to talk to you about why it's not only important for parents who adopt a child, but how the child got put into adoption. First, a baby can get put into adoption through a series of events. First could be abuse. If the parents are abusing the child and the government finds out that they are abusing the child, the government takes play. And if they find out that the parents cannot support the child, then the child becomes a ward to the government and they are put into foster homes. Another reason children could be put into adoption is that women believe that the baby is interfering in their life and personal goals, and therefore they believe that they don't have the time and effort to take care of the child, and that is why they're put into adoption. Another way they're put into adoption is sexual harassment. You know, yeah. Another reason why is special needs. Sometimes parents are not emotionally or physically ready to have a special need child, and so they put them into foster homes. And that's very tragic because no matter if you're a special need child or you're a regular child, everyone deserves a family to live in. Now, finally, I want to talk to you about a popular celebrity who was adopted. His name is Steve Jobs. His biological father was a Syrian Muslim, and his mom was a different religion. The mom's side of the family didn't accept the relationship, and therefore the mom went to San Francisco, delivered the baby, and put Steve Jobs in adoption. The adoptive parents, named Paul and Clara, they couldn't make babies, so they had to adopt a kid, and that's where Steve Jobs came in. So this shows he was born on February 24th, 1955, and that day Paul and Clara benefited from adopting Steve Jobs. This shows that there are different kinds of breeds in adoptions and in foster homes. You can find the next celebrity, the next super athlete, the next famous star. You never know. And in the end, I talked to you guys about the different types of adoption, which was international and domestic. And I talked about agencies that help you provide good information so you have a good, easy process to adopt a child. Second, I talked to you guys about how the parents and the children benefit, and how the parents are able to wake up in the morning and sleep at night because they adopted the child, and that's one of the main reasons why they adopted that child. And lastly, I'll talk to you about celebrity, Steve Jobs. Adopting a child showed that thousands and millions of children are waiting to be adopted, and it will always continue to grow. And so I strongly encourage people and society to adopt children, because you can find different kinds of culture and diversity can be experienced to new things. And who knows, maybe, like I said, you can find the next celebrity, superstar, actor.
All right, Dijon, quickly.
Okay, starting up, your opening, I think it was a little bit cluttered. I couldn't find a decent statement in the beginning, but I did get it at the end, like the speech as well. I guess your transitions, I didn't like how you did like firstly, secondly. Maybe that's a personal thing. I would have liked a better example of a successful adoption. I don't know who was it, John? Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
What was that?
You know Steve Jobs?
I don't. I mean, I didn't know his name, and I didn't know how to identify him, just because I didn't know who he was. And I didn't know the adoption agencies. I thought that would have been good if you would have mentioned a couple of them. But you had really good eye contact. I could tell that you knew what you were talking about. Your section structure was really well developed. I see you started to rush your speech at the end. I was intrigued. Like after the beginning, I was like really into it when you started talking about it. And I would have liked to heard more, like expanded on it.
All right, the opening has an interesting visualization. I think you've got the statistic mixed up. Maybe there are 70 million people around the world that need to be adopted, but not in this country. 70 million people, that's nearly 25% of the people in this country that would have to be adopted. And so that's, I think that number is way, way too high. So you want to make sure that you get that accurate. It's probably an international number that you're talking about. If there's a problem with adoption, you need to develop that. The need issue is not very strong here. I think there's a question about whether or not people are inadequately adopting. Are their kids not getting adopted? Do people think that there's a problem with adoption? I'm not exactly sure, because you're saying people should adopt, and I don't know anybody who thinks that adopting is a bad thing. So what's the problem here? Why do we need to get motivated on this? It sounds to me like you do believe that there are some people who are resistant to that as an option, people who might be faced with, being childless themselves, and now those are the people that your speech should be targeted at. This needs a little bit more audience analysis. I thought that you were, I think the example of Steve Jobs is an interesting one. I'm not sure why we were talking about him at first, and then the notion that he's adopted. Okay, well, that's an interesting point, but on the other hand, you're being very flip about it. So maybe you could adopt the next Steve Jobs. Now all I have to do is find one of those mass murderers who was also adopted and go, or you could get that. I mean, that's not really the best way, I think, to make that argument. The notion that adoption can be a productive thing, I think, can be made with that example, but I don't think you want to have people going out there on a fishing expedition looking for the next, Apple genius, for the wrong reason. There you go. All right, thank you.